That's fine, right? Okay, it's 10:30, so we start. Okay, since I get very little time, so Rinku ma'am, please let me know if you're able to see my screen, please. Rinku ma'am,
Yes,
is my
ma'am.
screen visible? Thank
Yes,
you
yes, yes,
so
yes.
much. Okay, now I hope you already are in my group, right? Do we know each other already?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure. And I do not know, so many people have joined, but I do not know where exactly are they. So maybe they are a little late as they join. Okay. Now this is of course
Yes,
a,
ma'am.
okay. Now this is of course a session on internal assessment. Okay. It looks like I do not know anything else in IB, but yes, I do. But I do not know. People have constantly been querying on internal assessments only. So I just happen to go on repeating internal assessments only. Yes. Okay. So now here we go. This is a copyrighted material. So as and when people will join, I'll request them also to please not to copy or display any of these contents without permission. Okay. And now this is the little disclaimer, because I am bound to give this because I owe this to my organizers. Okay, so this is merely my experience and strategies that I am going to be sharing with you. Okay, it does not happen to do anything with any organization's view. Okay, be it mine or I mean, be it my own organization or any other organization, it does not represent any of their views. Okay? And it's focused on sharing experience and strategies. And this is not a job alike session for authorized by IB. Okay. Now, this is me. You know me a little bit, but still, okay, I have an experience of 18 plus years of teaching IBDP. Overall, 27 years of teaching national and international curriculum. I'm currently a moderator for IAs and paper 3, I think for ages. I am also currently working with IB Exchange as the content creator for the new syllabus. Okay? And I have conducted several workshops. I think you also have been a part of some of my workshops, so you already know.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So now, because I have paucity of time, okay, I have got around 42 slides, but I will be focusing more on the new criteria, on IB new criteria. And then they will be kind of question sessions where you, of course, are free. And I'm shocked because I am getting messages, at least 10 participants have joined and I see none of them. That's so strange.
I guess they are not aware about the link. They
No,
are
but
waiting
no,
for the
no,
link.
but if they are not, because I got it in my this thing only in my email, I've been getting messages.
Yes, yes. I also opened the same thing. Email say I got the Zoom link and I joined it. So maybe the people are not aware about they have to open the mail or something. But I guess just now Ashika ma'am posted a link in the group. So I feel now people will join.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, okay, okay. Okay. So as I always say, please questions as far as possible. Okay, though not a rule, I'll try to fit in few questions. Mr. Robert Ravi, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, another
Good
old
evening.
friend. Okay, nice to see
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Very nice
yeah,
to
yes.
see you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I have just started introducing because I am running short on time. I get only exactly 40 minutes because Zoom does not give me the liberty to go beyond. So I will be
Okay,
only
fine.
restricting myself to a few slides. Okay, but this is
Sure.
where I seek cooperation from all the participants. Please reserve your question for the end of the session. Okay. And when we open the session for questions, please try to keep it one participant, one question. So only that if there are more participants joining, I should be having more. Okay? So that everybody gets an opportunity to ask and questions specific to the IAs right now. Okay, though everything in IB can be asked once I get your email IDs and all, in case you're interested to share. And then everything is possible. I mean, whatever little I know, I'm willing to share. Okay. And if you can keep your camera on, that will be great. Okay. And as I just said, it will not be possible to answer all the questions in the limited time that I get. I will be trying to answer as many questions. Okay. Now, so this is currently the grade boundaries which are common for HL and SL. Okay. I welcome everyone, those who have just joined. I'm sorry, but there's little time to exchange pleasantries also. I deeply apologize. Okay. Now, this is the current IA grade boundaries, which hold good for SL and HL. Needless to say, it has been taken from a subject report from my IB. So this is authenticated. Now, I assume that this will go on even with the revised curriculum. Okay. If there are changes, IB is going to tell you in time. Okay. Now, wherever you feel I am rushing through, please stop me. As I said, my key focus would be on the criteria. Okay. And these slides, I will be sharing with you. Once you share your email IDs with me, I will be sharing a link to for a feedback. In that, you may share all your even your doubts and all if you want, through the mail, through WhatsApp group, whatever you want to. Okay. Now, these are the expectations. These skills your students should know. Okay? Before you venture into the IA domain at all, this is what is expected. Okay, they should know how to design an experiment. They should have a report writing skills. So how to ensure that my students have that, I'll try to take within those 40 minutes. If not, as I said, again, time permitting, yes. Time not permitting, you can always get back. Okay. And being criteria for writing a good laboratory skills are the skills, research skills, analytical skills. Now, for those who have been teaching IB, even for 2 years, you would know chapter 11, measurements and processing, addresses these random errors, systematic errors and all. Okay. If not, again, I said, by and by you're going to get used to it. I will be sharing some resources which will help you even with these, how to polish the skills also, and the evaluation skills. Okay. Now, what kind of scientific work counts towards the IAs? Of course, practicals are all, I mean, we are all chemistry teachers. We love to have those practical, but IB also, I mean, IB has kept it very, very open. They don't mind field work. Rather, nobody has done field work to the best of my knowledge, but yes, they would want the field work. They have you can use a spreadsheet or analysis and modeling, extraction and analysis of data from a database. Now, this came very handy when we were in the COVID phase. Okay? Use of a simulation and even a hybrid. When I say hybrid, I mean 2 of these components can be clubbed. Okay, you can have a lab and a simulation, okay, to add more value and depth to the simulation. Okay. Now, this is where I am going to elaborate upon. Now, a very honest question I would want, can somebody tell me how many of you are completely new to IB? I mean, okay, I know it, Robert Ravi is. Okay. Deepa ma'am, good morning. Okay.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay. So at the start, it may be overwhelming. I mean, not even at the start, because this is a C. Even for an old boss like me, I have been in the business, as I said, for 18 plus years for IBDP, yet I find IA a challenge every day. Okay. So, sorry, please. Okay. So now, for those who have been teaching for some time, you know, earlier there were 5 criteria, but for the first examination, which will take place in 2024, 2025, they has been cut down to 4 criteria now. Okay, so I am focusing only on 2025. Okay, in case you have a question, as I said, we can always get back pertaining to the old syllabus. We can always get back. Now, the first criteria is research design, okay, which holds good for 6 marks. Under research design, you have these: a research question, an introduction, a background information, methodology, and SEE. This is my shortcut. It helps. Okay, this is safety, environmental, and ethical issues. And IB, you would know, is very, very, very particular. They're focusing big on green chemistry, atom economy, and all. So please ensure that your students are well versed with these parameters.
मैंने वो रजिस्टर किया था आज के लिए
Uh, okay, there was some disturbance. And this screenshot, what you see here, this is of course taken from my IB guide. Okay? Sorry, the subject guide. And this is the highest, 5 to 6. As I said, 6 is the maximum. So the range of 5 to 6, if you want your student to get, the IB elaborates upon what is to be done when to get a 5 or a 6 here. Okay. So as it says, the research question is described with a specific and appropriate context. Okay, this is important. I'm going to take it in the upcoming slides. Okay. Then say methodological consideration associated with collecting relevant and sufficient data. Please focus on these words. Okay. Our interpretation of these criteria is as important as IB enlisting them care. Okay. Okay. And the description of the methodology for collecting or selecting data allow for the investigation to be reproduced. Now, what exactly does this mean? Here I am. Now, I am starting with a focus on a research question and a topic. Now, anybody could tell me why is this the focus of my work? Why am I starting with this? Okay, old teachers, when I say old teachers, I mean old young teachers. Okay. Can anybody tell me why should I focus on the research question and the topic at the start? Gulsha ma'am, okay, like I do in my class. Yes, please. Any idea? Gulsha ma'am, is my voice reaching you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, would you be able to tell why would I bother to start with this?
Like, ma'am, you
Yes, sorry, I missed you. Yes, please.
no. Can you repeat your question?
My question is, why should we focus so much on an RQ, and why should we say what is a good research question and a topic?
Okay. I think when we start, an IA, the research question needs to be very clear so that we know what to do. Otherwise, it will become very broad. In order to narrow down the topic, first we have to frame a research question so that we get an idea of how to go about, what will be the desired outcomes. Otherwise, it becomes very broad.
Beautifully
So
put.
I also start with the research question first.
Beautifully put, okay. Yes. Okay. And so research question is kind of the backbone of your entire work, because like supposing if I ask you a particular question, the student give me all answer which are close to the periphery, but they do not get exactly to the same research question. But IP expects that the question must be the basis of your research. Okay? So it's very, very important that a research question is properly phrased, okay? And so also the topic. Okay? Over the years, when I have been checking the IEs, I have seen there is no topic, and general directly start either from the intro or the good. Okay? So I am starting with both. This should be the start of your. Okay. Now, a good research question should have IV. For those who do not know, this is independent variable, dependent variable, and system mention. Now, system would mean, like, supposedly, I am using colorimeter to answer my research question. That is your system, or a calorimeter, or it could be a spectrophotometer. So system basically mean what technique or technology are you employing to answer your research question. We are just trying this. Now, I have written that this is a topic. I'm saying effect of titration or NOH with HCl on endpoint. And this is the research question. What is the effect on the endpoint with the varying concentration of NOH when titrated with HCl? Now, when I say this, how far do you feel this is a good research question? And anybody, I mean, yes, okay. And I'm also learning, so please feel free. If you feel this is perfectly all right, there are no issues with this, more can be added, or even Mr. Robert Ravi, even if you do not know, let's jump into the sea, because now that you have taken the first step, you don't have an option but to yet. So what would you want to give it a shot?
I could remember only that attrition curve. How does it vary? That's all.
Okay.
Move on.
Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm showing you the same research question rephrased, okay, and the topic rephrased. Okay, so tell me now, does it look any way better? And if you feel why, again, I'm saying a good research question ought to have the IV, DV, independent variable, dependent variable, as well as a system, okay, or the methodology that is used. Comments, people, comments. Anybody? Yes. Yes.
3-4 बस क्योंकि जा रहे 2-3 दिन के लिए एक बार जो पहन वही पहन के घूमना पड़ेगा पूरे दिन
I don't think I'm able to hear you clearly.
ड्रेस चेंज करूंगी 25th को एक बार ड्रेस चेंज करूंगी और 26th को ड्रेस चेंज करूंगी तो एक जीन्स में तो 2-3 हो जाएगा तो या तो ब्लैक लेना पड़ेगा नहीं तो ब्लू कौन सा लूं
Okay, Amrita ma'am, if you can please mute yourself, please. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Now, anybody giving it a shot? Is this better or?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
This is
ma'am.
a better research question
Because
it has mentioned all the like concentrations, right?
yes.
The temperature, probably the controlled variable, and the indicator, the
Yes.
phenolphthalein.
Yes.
So this is definitely a more clear research question, as it basically tells what is in the mind of the child and what is he going to do
Great.
at a first single glance.
Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much. Now, since I cannot know who is answering, because as I'm presenting, I would like, who was that? I'm sorry.
I'm Deepika Jain.
Deepika ma'am, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. So now this is the other one. Okay. Which, if my screen is not visible, kindly let me know. Okay. So we go to the other one. Now, is this a good one, you feel, or there is something missing? Okay, this is again another topic and research question that we are looking at.
Ma'am, research question is not focused, and the system is not mentioned that how he is going to collect the amount of sugar.
Yes, even yes, amount is in mass or centimeter cube. Don't know, we know sugar, but then the child is expected to know specify the meaning of word, what kind of bananas, okay, that is, and yes, the time period that has to be specified. Okay, now does this look more appropriate and is that okay? Does this look more appropriate? Hello, people. Good morning. I'm waiting for an answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. It looks good. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, the idea is not to torture you. The idea is that please speak up, because as I said, this is completely an exchange of ideas. Even I am learning from you all. So please be very, very free. I am skipping this, okay, as I'm going to share this with you. Okay. Now, as I said in the research question, research design, the second thing is the introduction. Now, introduction does matter a lot. It's like how the way you do a shake hand, okay, that speaks volume of your personality. Exactly the same, the way you introduce your own work, that speaks volume of the quality of the lab that is going to come, or the quality of the experiment that is going to come. Okay. Mostly those who have been teaching, you have seen students normally say, my grandfather had this, or my mother is a doctor, so I started doing it on this. Yes, a personal context should be there, but the focus should be more on the scientific aspect of the research question. Okay. So this is just example I'm saying for those people who are just starting. One easiest way is what I have done is like I just wrote that I want a topic on this, and when I go to Zoom, sorry, when I go to another, oh, good Lord, another window, if I open, so what it does is my screen visible to all?
No,
Oh, it's not?
no, it's not.
Still the PPT.
Can you see it now, please?
No, it's
No.
still showing the presentation.
So in the share
I think you'll have
screen,
to
just
reshare.
don't change it.
Okay,
Share
I have,
screen.
yes, okay. Could you see?
Ah.
You could not, okay. Now I am, just give me a minute.
Go to share screen and then.
No, I am going to do it now, please, because okay, so now just tell me, is my, where did it go? Here, okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so like supposingly you want to do something on transition elements, I just write my exact research question or maybe just the topic that I'm looking at. Okay. And here I lift up any one, maybe a journal, maybe an ebook, maybe a textbook even. Okay. And the way it is introduced here, it is taking a while, please. Okay. And see, when they introduce, they do not say that my mother or my grandparents or what they were interested. What they say, they directly come to the topic. Like, why should I study about the color in transition method? So first you simply do what are transition methods and what is the origin of the color. Okay. And then we pick up any one aspect of it and then we move on. Unfortunately, it is taking a lot of time. So I will please move on to the presentation. I hope that is okay with everyone. Here it is. Okay, yeah. Please. I apologize, but it does not agree to show me the content. Okay, other than this. But if you see even the abstract, it does give you a little idea of how to introduce the topic. Okay? Now, when I'm talking of these, I do not say ask the child to cut paste, but they can always get an idea of how to introduce a topic when they are working on their IAs. Okay? Does that help, or is it, do we want any more information on this, or is it understood, please? I mean, did the basic idea how to do it, is that okay? Or
Yes, ma'am.
okay, so but again, I'm repeating, please, even in your textbook, if you see the way transition elements or the color is introduced, more or less that is expected from the student also. Please give a scientific argument for choosing the research question in your introduction. Okay. Then again, background information. Now, again, here also my experience says that children just hover around the topic, but they don't touch upon exactly what is expected in the background information. And background information is all research. So this is where your understanding or deepening of the concepts will happen. So the children are expected to be having a very, very, very clear and focused background information. Okay? So I am just going to not read it, but I'm just saying that please ask the children to please frame the DV in context of the investigation. Okay, how is the IVDV linked to your investigation? How are you? How will they be measured? What are they? What factors that affect those background information? Now, even the chemistry of the methodology that you're going to use. Supposing you are using a redox titration, say iodometry and idiometry. Okay, how are you going to use? What equations will be used in those? Okay? That all should be stated clearly in your background information. Okay? Equations, mechanisms, diagrams, okay, and then sources. Very, very important is that each site is cited. each source is cited, that where have they lifted this particular paragraph or a particular line has been lifted from there, that should be cited. Okay. Now, methodology, again, very, very, very important. Now, we'll say everything is important, but I'm just saying when you take a flow, okay, this is how a whole research lab should flow. Okay? Now, in the methodology, though we expect this in the extended essay, but here also, if the child can say that my same research question can be answered using X methodology, Y methodology, yet I am choosing the one that is maybe the reason it is easy for me to understand or perform in a school lab, maybe it answers my question in 10 hours that is given to me by IB, or maybe it is easily available in my lab. Okay, so that is where, but they need to give a justification that, or it's not too complex for me to understand. Because of late I got one teacher asked me for a feedback on a extended essay on FTIR, okay, Fourier transform infrared. So I would decline such a one because there is no way that a grade 11 or 12 student would be able to understand, leave alone perform an FTIR. Okay. That's not, and then what is the rationale? Why am I choosing this particular range of range of IV? Why am I using this particular compound? If I'm using, why I'm using this particular equation? Maybe because the results are very easily seen. I can see what is happening, so I am able to record my data more aptly or more correctly. That could be one. Trial labs, no, personal engagement is not a requisite. Still, if you would see in the new guide also, they say, please write down what did you do in the trial lab and what changes did you make. That is what critical thinking is all about. If you would realize, now the focus is entirely shifted to critical thinking. Okay. So your methodology and control variable, absolutely imperative. Okay, not only what are the control variables, how will they impact your result? Okay, why do you need to control them? And then why do you control? How did you control them? That has to be done. Well-labeled diagram of the setup, always a very good idea. Now this is what SEE I said. Now here, two things that IB most importantly looked at is that did the child mention from environmental point of view that chemicals were used to the bare minimum, only in the required quantity. Okay. And how did they discharge? Now, even if the teacher or the lab attendant has discharged the chemical, the child is expected to write in details how were they discharged in your lab. Okay. For this, there are hash cards available, as well as other option is that you can just type MSDS. MSDS full form is Materials Safety Data Sheet and the name of the compound, and the entire thing will pop up. How do you store? How do you dispose of this off? The entire details about the chemicals. Okay. Now, this sheet that I have lifted is from IB sends instruction to the moderators. Like I am a moderator for IA every year. So this is just one paragraph. It's almost a 10 to 12 page document that they sent it, but I have just lifted the key thing. Okay? So for your research design, this is the most important thing that the child should do to get a 5 or 6 in the research design criteria. Implement a method in proper context. So that is where your introduction will come. Okay. 10 minutes I have, so I am going to rush through with this. Okay, please. Likewise, criteria 2, your main component is raw data, data processing, communication of data. This has to be also looked at. What is raw data? How is it collected? Quantitative and qualitative data all come. Uncertainties are reported. Graphs are properly placed. Decimal places are properly placed as well. Outliers are identified. Graph 75 to 85%, 80% of the place is used. Okay. R square, line of best fit, outliers, they're identified, they are done. Okay. sample data because the time does not permit, otherwise also this, okay. And this is uncertainty should be reported and propagated, line of best fit, error bars, and R square are also evidence to it, okay. R square is not a compulsion, but it can be used. Criteria 3, again for 6 marks, conclusion, main component, conclusion and hypothesis backed by data, explanation of the obtained trend. Okay, this now, what is the conclusion? Here, child should say that this was my research question. Was it answered or was it not answered? This is the hypothesis I made, and was it did I get the exact hypothesis, or was my hypothesis proven wrong? So hypothesis can be proven wrong also. Okay, then you compare it with the literature value, and if you have values, you find the percentage difference and comment on systematic and random errors. Okay, then you comment on the trends obtained through the graph. And this is the most important, as it says, a quantitative data. Okay, many times teachers ask me, is quantitative as qualitative experiment acceptable to IB? Yes. Purely qualitative? No. It has to be quantitative. What I can measure, that must be there in the research question as well as my experiment. And the last criteria is evaluation, where we find out what are the methodological weaknesses of my work and what are the improvement that I am going to address. Okay? Precision of the experiment. Did I do enough trials and not? Is my data size good? Is my data range good? Did I choose the right interval or frequency of the IV that I was measuring? Okay, did the error bars affect my result? What the anomalies also and had an impact on my result? Okay, and no procedural, as it's written clearly here, procedural are a limitation that could have been addressed, but the child did not address during that. So that is not accepted as a good evaluation of the work. Okay. So on that note, I am just stopping my presentation because I would now want you to please ask as many questions as you can before Zoom calls it off. Because yeah, and any question, it can be a stupid question which you feel may be stupid, but I feel every question is a good question. Yes, Deepika ma'am, shoot.
Okay, ma'am, my question is, what if a child is not framing a research question? Instead, he wants to write a research statement. Is that acceptable to IB?
See, ma'am, so far we have been giving credit, but IB clearly says a question has to be in the form of a question. Okay, so it is expected that they do form it in the form of a question, and of course we know it should be open-ended. Simply open-ended means it does not have a yes or no answer. It should have a trend generating, so that you know that what if I increase the temperature, say, what will be the impact on kinetics, and also trend generating. Did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, anybody else? Okay, and I'm saying right from the scratch about the IAs.
Ma'am, this is
Yeah.
Deepa.
Hi,
I
Deepa
have one
ma'am.
doubt, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Hi.
Yeah.
So this is regarding the critical thinking part, ma'am. Usually when we make children do IA, as you told, they will do a pilot test, and then, that talks about the critical thinking. Any other critical thinking aspect that you help children to come up with, or any other areas other than this research designing?
Absolutely. See, basically, even your choice of methodology or the technique that you have used to answer your research question, that shows that you have done a lot of grilling and then came to a conclusion that this is the best methodology that will address my research question. Okay. Likewise, when you are analyzing your data.
Okay.
So do you know that my data range was good enough? My data size good enough? Okay. Even evaluation and all. Okay. So that is all critical thinking, R square, how you're interpreting. Okay. When you are taking standard deviation, do you understand what is the meaning of this? How did it impact your result? When you are suggesting modifications. Okay. So the entire work is actually about critical thinking. So that is why I say research has to be very, very, very solid when you are doing a research on this.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I hope I had more time, but please ask till before it does not permit me anymore. Anybody else has any beautiful questions?
Ma'am,
Yes, Deepika
Hello,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, yes. Oh, Rinku ma'am, yes.
Yeah, I'll
Ma'am,
wait,
actually,
ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Like if a student has conducted a research, like he has done some experiment, but there is no literature value for his particular experiment, so he cannot actually calculate the experimental error. So will he get penalized for that, or maybe he can just write a comment that literature values are not available for this particular experiment, so
Right.
I was not able to calculate. So
Oh.
will he get penalized for this?
No. So in case you have one, then of course you are supposed to, and then find out a
Mhm.
percentage difference and comment on systematic errors. Otherwise,
Mhm.
just explain in terms of science or the chemistry concept, particular concept, that
Mhm.
why did this
Mhm.
trend emerge.
Okay, got it.
So yes.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
it's
Thank you.
just, yeah, please. Okay.
Yeah, now, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Deepika ma'am. I
Ma'am,
love the
my
way you go
question-
answering, questioning. Yes. Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
My question is, like, sometimes the child is not able to find something very, very different. Okay, if he does something very simple, which
Mhm.
has been done all over the years, but he does it perfectly, the way it has to be done, is
Right.
that given credit by IB?
Okay, so see, all knowledge emanates from existing knowledge only. Okay? And for 12, 11, students starting in 11th or 12th grade, you don't expect overnight to generate something new or create. Okay? So yes, he can lift an existing methodology also, but when you are doing the trials, okay, there can you make modifications. Okay? So IB looks at how sensibly did you make the modifications in a standardized experiment. So you have the liberty to choose and say, well, this is what was given to me, but this is the modification that I have made in my procedure. And that is where that I would, that is what shows that you own the work.
Got it, ma'am. Another thing, yeah, usage of sensors, maybe the pressure sensor or a pH probe, or maybe a spectrophotometer. Is that all allowed?
Very much. In
Acceptable?
fact, IB wants, if you see the new syllabus, there is an entire section which says
Yes.
technology.
Exactly.
So how
So
sensibly,
that's
yes, very, very much. Okay. But of course, smartly and how sensibly it is done, that, yes. Okay. Please, for this, only for information, I have just put on the chat a link to the feedback form. Yes, I understand time is a huge constraint, so please pardon me. That is where normally these sessions go on for 2 hours and even they are less, to be honest. But then Zoom does not give me the liberty to go beyond those 40 minutes. And since some of you joined a little late, so I had to. Okay? I apologize. But as I said, please keep coming back as often as possible. Okay? If you want my, I'm also sharing my email ID on this. For those who want to come back on this, please take down and give your feedback on what more can be done other than not going on the Zoom, because this is not in my hand. This is what the organizers, because they want the whole thing to be recorded, and no other platform give me the liberty to plan. Okay. Now, more questions, please. More questions.
Ma'am, when we talk about the scope of further research, like at times the students get stuck. Say for example, if a child is working on an iodine clock reaction, right? Usne saperi kar diya, concentration kar diya. It's a simple thing, but done in a perfect way. But then when we talk about what more can be done or the scope of further development or research, we get stuck up.
Okay,
So
see,
can you suggest something about
so
it?
from there, the best is, you know, in the background information